AI는 이제 점점 우리 사회 곳곳에 더 많은 영향력을 미치겠죠. 자, 이어지는 순서는 특별 강연을 준비를 했는데요. 이번 강연에서는 우리 인간과 또 AI 기술이 앞으로 어떻게 상호작용하고 협력할 수 있을지, 그리고 어떤 현명한 경쟁 관계를 가져갈 수 있을지 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. AI 문명의 만개, 도전과 응전이라는 주제로 준비를 해주셨는데요. 자, 이번 특별 강연은 피터 다이어맨디스 엑스프라이즈 재단 설립자 겸 회장님께서 함께해 주시겠습니다. 자, 이번 강연은 온라인으로 소개해 드리겠습니다. Now welcome, and could you please start your presentation?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning to the world. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak about artificial intelligence and the extraordinary opportunities it's creating for humanity and for our civilization. Allow me to jump in. The first thing to understand is that we as humans, the 100 billion neurons in our brain, the 100 trillion synaptic connections that shape everything we see, hear, feel, and know, our brains evolved for a very different world. Our brains evolved for the savannas of Africa 100,000 years ago, when the world was local and linear. Today, we live in a world that is global and exponential. And the technologies that we're building are very different than the way our brains are wired to think. So when I speak about exponentials and compare it to linear, of course, as linear thinkers, we're very good at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 30 linear steps, we're 30 meters away. But when I speak about exponentials, where a simple exponential is a doubling, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, in 30 doublings, you're not 30 meters away, you're a billion meters away. Put differently, you've gone around the planet 26 times. And the difference between the way that our minds are wired to think in this linear fashion and the way that the technology that we're creating, we're investing in, and we're using, it is causing a tremendous either disruption or opportunity, depending on your point of view. And the world that we're living in today is really built on top of these faster, cheaper computers, right? Faster, cheaper computers are the oxygen in the room. They're the foundation upon which we're building everything. And as computation is getting faster, so are everything it's built on top of, sensors and networks and AI and robotics and 3D printing and sensors and VR. And it used to be that you could be an expert in any one of these, and that would be sufficient to succeed as an entrepreneur, as a CEO. But today, really, it's the combination of 2, 3, or 4 of these that are coming together and are transforming and disrupting industries. And there is no more powerful technology than we're going to be dealing with in terms of reinventing society than artificial intelligence. One of the phrases I like using, because I think it's more true than ever before, is that the day before something is really a breakthrough, it's a crazy idea. And the question is, where are we in society embracing crazy ideas? And the ability of AI to help our craziest ideas become true is here more powerfully than ever before. One of the greatest thinkers in exponential technologies, my co-founder of 싱귤래리티 University, Ray Kurzweil, and I have talked about this, that in the next 10 years, we're going to experience as much change and as much progress as we've seen in the past century. One of the challenges is that we as humans, our societal structures with government or culture, are not prepared for the speed of change that's coming. So what I'd like to do is talk about AI, in particular, the promise, the peril, and the response. that we should be thinking about. Artificial intelligence is not a new idea. The first time the subject was fully discussed was around 1956 at a conference at Dartmouth University in the United States, some 67 years ago. And the question becomes why is AI exploding now? Why, after over 60 years, is now the time that it's blossoming and it's really transforming? And there are four reasons that are important to understand, because each of these reasons are accelerating and they're not slowing down. The first is that it's the amount of computational speed that we have. This is what people call Moore's law. It's the amount of computational power per dollar, and it's been doubling on about an 18-month to 2-year center for the last 50 plus years. If you look at the curve through 2025, it continues as a straight line. And it's really been the last 6-7 years that enough computational power is available on the cloud, on GPUs and classical processors, to enable us to execute on the deep learning algorithms that are out there. And it's during these times that we've seen incredible progress. So that's the first reason, the amount of computation, which is accelerating. It's not slowing down. The second is the amount of labeled data that's out there. We've been doubling the amount of data roughly every 2 years. And it's not just the amount of data, but it's labeled data. These AI generative pre-trained transformers and ChatGPT and BARD, all of these are built upon the data that we have been putting into the internet. I think of these AIs as our children and we as its parents, and it is learning based upon all the information that we've been depositing and we continue to deposit. The third reason that we're seeing this explosion of AI now is that the cost of training these AI models has been dropping at an extraordinary rate. The AI model training has dropped to 99.5% in the last 5 years. And the final reason is the amount of capital going in. We've seen $160 billion being invested by corporations. We're seeing massive amounts being invested by investment funds. And the global AI market is expected to, I think the number is now higher, close to $1.8 trillion by 2030. So the amount of capital flowing in is also exploding. So computational speed, the amount of data, the AI algorithms, the amount of capital, and finally, the amount of individuals focused on AI. So this is not slowing down, it is accelerating faster than anybody believed. This is Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Alphabet. I love this quote that he said. He said, "Artificial intelligence could have more profound implications for humanity than electricity or fire." And I believe he is correct. The way that I think about this is that there are going to be two kinds of companies by the end of this decade. Those companies that are fully utilizing AI and those that are out of business. I think AI is going to play as fundamental a role as the phone, as the computer, as electricity. And it is not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when government, individuals, kids, the world become partners with AI. So the question is, how fast and how far will AI go? Ray Kurzweil, who I mentioned earlier, is one of the preeminent futurists. He's the futurist at Google. He's written numerous New York Times bestsellers, including The Singularity is Near. Back in 1999, Ray predicted that we would achieve human-level AI in 1929. He made this prediction 30 years in the past. And people laughed at that prediction back in 1999. They said human-level AI would not be around for 100 years or 50 years. Most people are now actually agreeing with him. Elon's prediction is around 2028 that AI would be vastly smarter than any human. And of course, the year after AI achieves human level intelligence, the next year we're at artificial superintelligence or digital superintelligence. And again, this is where we're going very rapidly. Now, we've all experienced the speed at which these systems can move. I think hopefully everyone in the audience has seen this chart, that the speed to go from 0 to 1 million users broke the records of the internet for ChatGPT. It took only 5 days. And of course, it reached 100 million users in 2 months. The headlines have been extraordinary. I'm a medical doctor by training, and when I heard ChatGPT passed the U.S. medical licensing exam, which takes 4 years of medical school, 2 years of residency, and seeing a lot of patients, ChatGPT came online in November of last year, 11 months ago, and 3 months later, it passed the U.S. medical licensing exam. And then it passed the U.S. bar exam for lawyers, then the Wharton MBA final exam. Microsoft invested $10 billion. ChatGPT got 100% on MIT's electrical engineering and computer science exams, which for me as an MIT grad blows my mind, right? Now ChatGPT can see and can speak. 2023 estimates are that we'll see $154 billion invested into AI. And of course, 24, we'll see a significant amount more than that. And we're likely to see GPT-5 and Gemini from Alphabet hit before the end of 2023. Again, the speed at which AI is entering our universe, entering our world, every aspect of our world is awe-inspiring. One of the individuals who I've had on my stage and in my podcast, Emad Mustak, who is the CEO of Stability AI, I think put it very beautifully when he said, Google and Microsoft are going all in on generative AI as core to their future. We're still early here. Trillion-dollar companies are shifting their entire strategy and focus. And as such, it's every CEO, every leader needs to be thinking about how do you shift your strategy and your focus. What I'd like to do is play a short video and listen to what Emad has to say here, and for me, his vision of how this will pervade every aspect of our communities is important.
Look at creative industry. Video games, $180 billion a year. Disney spends $10 billion a year. Amazon, $16 billion a year on content. All of that's going to change in the next couple of years alone, just from one tiny little 2 gigabyte file. Industry is about, again, information theory.
Yeah.
And so once you can basically take a system, you can have human input in the loop to train a system that's a generalist to understand principles. You disrupt just about everything.
What's your advice to that 20-year-old listening right now?
Drop everything. We should focus entirely on this. $100 billion, $1 trillion is going to go into this sector.
Say that again, how much?
$100 billion in the next few years, and then $1 trillion will go into this sector because it's so transformative and so few people understand it. There's never been something, a technological advance, that will diffuse as fast as this.
But what does it look like to focus? What would a person do?
Like if you're an entrepreneur, you'd be an entrepreneur in this. If you are someone who can communicate, you communicate this to other people and you get paid $1 million a year as a consultant, right?
If you're an artist, if you're creative,
if you're an artist,
the tool.
You become the most efficient artist in the world. Corporations, the big programs, the big things, will be outcompeted by just individuals and small groups. Building on top of this technology can do anything.
So what I'd like to do is talk a bit about the promise and then the peril of AI. So the promise is significant. This tool is the greatest tool that humanity has created. It has the potential to help us extend the human lifespan, cure cancer, create new materials for room temperature superconducting. The market is going to be approaching $2 trillion by the end of this decade. It has the potential to demonetize and democratize access to health and education. When I think about it, the best educator in the world is going to be an AI that knows your children's language skills, knows their favorite sports star, movie star, their favorite color, knows how they like to learn, and then can give them a personalized education anywhere and any time. I'm clear in the field of medicine and health, the best physicians in the world, the best diagnosticians in the world are going to be AIs. There are 7,000 medical articles written per day in medical journals. You know, how many has your doctor read this morning? And AI can read them all. So it's about a personalized and preventative health program for you, right? We're all going to be wearing sensors on our bodies, in our desks, in our beds, measuring everything all the time, communicating to our AI, which is monitoring us for any changes at any time. We're also going to be transitioning from an information world to a knowledge world, a knowledge society. And we're democratizing knowledge at the edge for everyone. Imagine a world where anybody, anywhere on the planet, can have access to not just information, but knowledge. What does it mean? So finally, for me, the most important thing, the work that I do at the XPRIZE Foundation and Singularity University, is this is the tech that allows us to uplift everyone, creating a world of true abundance, a world where you meet the needs of every man, woman, and child. So let's look at some of the evidence for this promise. This came out of China about 9-10 months ago. A large group of physicians were given a number of medical cases of tumors, and they were asked to diagnose the patients. The AI diagnosed 85% of the patients correctly in 18 minutes, and the neurologist was 64% accurate in 50 minutes. I can guarantee you next year the AI will be significantly better, but the human physicians will not. Of course, the cost of this AI is really just the cost of bandwidth and electricity. So it's about democratizing access to the best diagnostics on the planet. I found this amazing. This was from one of the preeminent medical journals of the United States, JAMA, that in a trial, ChatGPT gave more empathic advice than doctors did, which this surprised me. And what we're seeing is that even in trials of psychologists and therapists, that an individual is more likely to speak openly to an AI than it is to a human, because the AI doesn't have any biases. It doesn't judge you. This, for me, is amazing. Of course, it's the notion that AI can now code as good or better than the best humans. So in a trial done at the beginning of this year, AlphaCode, part of Alphabet, was pitted against 5,000 human coders, and it outperformed them 45% of the time. The prediction is that within 5 years, AI will be coding better than any human coder. But what it also means is that everyone becomes a coder. If you can explain what you want, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a school kid, if you can explain what you want, you can translate from language into code. We're seeing the use of AI in areas like this. So here is a study done where an AI model can predict dementia just from speech pattern with 70 to 75% accuracy. 10 seconds of a voice test can detect type 2 diabetes 90% of the time. And this is a study done in 267 people. Again, this is the power of AI to help us understand our health much faster than ever before. I had the pleasure of knowing Professor Hawking many years ago. I took him into zero gravity, one of our parabolic airplanes. I took him up to experience weightlessness, and I remember communicating to him through his eyeglasses, where it was so very slow and difficult, where he'd have to type one letter at a time by looking at the letters on his computer. Now a brain implant that goes through an AI algorithm can communicate at 62 words per minute. This, for me, is so very important. We're seeing AI algorithms that will be able to alert us very early to the next pandemic so that we can take action as fast as possible. This was a recent and fascinating demonstration. Tesla has been working on their self-driving algorithm now for quite some time. Elon keeps on predicting full self-driving year after year after year. Well, this year they made a huge step forward. Of course, you know, I love my Tesla, and I know that the Tesla is constantly feeding video back to mission control. So every time it's on autopilot and I grab the steering wheel and take over because I'm scared it's going in the wrong direction, it feeds that information back to Tesla's mission control. Well, this year they got rid of 300,000 lines of code of C++ and instead replaced it with a neural net that was trained on all of the video data that was sent back, and it's performing better than ever before. You know, in the field of education, for me, this is about the democratization and demonetization. What I imagine we're going to be seeing inside of the next 3 or 4 years is really a revolution in education where I'm going to enter a virtual world. And if I want to go, my father and mother were born in Greece. If I want to go and learn about ancient Greece, I will enter a VR world. I'll be in the middle of the Parthenon, and around me in very lifelike, resolute detail will be individuals, and each of them is an AI avatar. I can go over and speak to them, have them share with me what life is like, go and meet Socrates or Plato, and have an experiential education that is unlike anything that we have today for reading books, and take you into the world of the inside of a cellular nucleus or onto the surface of Mars. Of course, all of this is going to drive a faster and faster economy. The impact is massive. McKinsey estimates a $4.4 trillion increase annually in the global GDP. So one of the areas that people don't think about when they think about AI, but it's one of the most impactful, is that AI is going to finally enable humanoid robots. And I just want to share 2 examples with you. You know, our world, the doors we enter, the chairs we sit in, the cars we get in, all of them are built for our human form. And so we're going to start to see a new generation of robots. This is one of them, Optimus, and I'll show you a short video where Elon talks about Optimus, but also about creating this world of abundance. And all of this is made possible by the AI systems coming online. Let's listen to Elon for a moment.
Optimus Production Unit 1, which is the ability to move all the fingers independently, to have the thumb have 2 degrees of freedom, so it has opposable thumbs, so it's able to operate tools and do useful things. Our goal is to make a useful humanoid robot as quickly as possible. Optimus is designed to be an extremely capable robot, but made in very high volume, probably ultimately millions of units, and it is expected to cost much less than a car. This means a future of abundance, a future where there is no poverty, where you can have whatever you want in terms of products and services.
A future of abundance. This is another robot. This is Amica, comes out of England. I had Amica on my stage last year, powered by GPT-4. And what I want to show you is the fact that these robots are going to begin to create a relationship with humans, a emotional bond, a level of empathy. Amica, in particular, take a look at its facial expressions. So this is Amica. It's powered by GPT-4 when it speaks to you. But I think what makes Amica special is, again, all of the muscles and musculature in the face and hands. Finally, there are dozens of robots. This is a robot on the future of surgery. This is out of Johns Hopkins. It's called the STAR robot. At the end, in the future, what I imagine is the best surgeons in the world are going to be AI-driven robots, which have seen every possible variation of a surgical procedure. And what this means is that we're going to be demonetizing and democratizing access to the best surgery. You don't have to fly into Seoul or New York to get the best surgeon. You can get it in the middle of any nation. So let's talk about the peril of AI 1 second. So in the near term, there's no question that we're going to see a world in which AI is used for disinformation and misinformation, causing a loss of trust. We'll see the potential for cyber attacks. The 2024 election in the United States may be patient zero for political and financial issues. We'll see loss of jobs. And on the heels of COVID-19, where we have a restless youth, if you don't have access to the jobs you've dreamed about, that will cause issues. In the longer term, the issue is artificial general intelligence, human level AI by 2029, and superintelligence thereafter. It can be the biggest blessing and the biggest benefit for humanity, but if it's not aligned with our future, then it poses an existential risk. And of course, this is the concept of the alignment challenge. Can we build AIs that align with our interests for humanity? Last week, I was in Riyadh, in Saudi, and I chair the AI committee at FII. This is the Future Investment Initiative, the 7th summit. We had the president of South Korea and Prince MBS on this day. And I want to share with you the resolutions on AI that came out of the summit, because I think these are the points that we need to be speaking about within our companies, within our investment organizations, and within all levels of government. So there were a number of resolutions that were put forward, and I'd like to share them with you. The first resolution were recommendations to governments about promoting AI alignment. Again, making sure that the AIs that we're building are aligned with the best interests of humanity. So the first recommendation was requiring that all AI companies have to document and disclose how they're implementing AI alignment strategies. Second, developing the prerequisites for the release of AI models and supporting early warning systems that can track and report on any risks once deployed. Continuing that, the requirement of full transparency, that companies must deliver full transparencies on their AI models, and importantly, how they're trained. You know, this is like, how do you bring up your children? What do you teach them? There's a comic book character in the US called Superman, probably in South Korea as well. And in the original comic book, Superman landed in the middle of the farm fields of the US in Kansas, and he was brought up by a very good family, and he was taught good values, and he became a superhero. Imagine instead if Superman had landed in the middle of the Bronx and was brought up by a gang of thugs and became a supervillain. In the same way, how are we training our AIs? Number 4, work with private industry to develop training data sets that are considered safe and pro-alignment. What we feed our AIs, what we teach them, what we train them on has got to be properly evaluated. And then the 5th element of this resolution was increasing funding for AI alignment. Next, actively invest in upskilling and reskilling programs, providing a social safety net to ensure a transition for workers displaced by AI. We haven't seen it much yet, but the expectation is over the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to start to see issues in hiring and displacement. These were the resolutions put forward for private companies in the investment sector. The need to collaborate with government to develop adequate global response capacity to a known global risk from an existing AI model. Adopting a safety level based on the development of future AIs, defining the procedures for safety, ensuring state-of-the-art AI facilities for safety, once again. One of the important things that was recommended was that the investment community, venture, PE, family offices, R&D, as well as government funding, should commit to only providing financing to those AI companies that have a proven AI alignment policy in place. So we are truly living during the most extraordinary time ever. AI has, in my mind and that of the people who I work with, the ability to transform society, to level the playing field, to provide every mother, father, and child on the planet access to the best education, not good education, the best education, and not good healthcare, the best healthcare, the ability to demonetize and democratize. And that is a powerful vision. It's also the belief that we're going to have challenges over the next 2 to 5 years, and that if we can tilt the singularity of AI at pro-human, then we have a chance to create an extraordinary future. I like to say the best way to predict the future is to create it ourselves. And we have the potential to create an extraordinary future. And AI is neither not going away, it's not slowing down, it is accelerating. And we need today to be understanding how we're going to utilize it, how we're going to train it, and how we're going to embrace it. So with that, I'm happy to share these slides with you, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your inspiring presentation. 네, AI 기술로 인해서 원하는 모든 것을 다 가질 수 있는 시대가 오고 있다고 하니까 좀 놀랍기도 하고 또 기대도 되는데요. 한편으로는 조금의 우려도 되는 것이 사실입니다. AI 기술과 우리 삶이 함께 걸어가야 하는 시대라면 어떻게 하면 좀 현명하게 공존할 수 있을까? 우리 앞에 당면한 이 과제에 대해서 다시 한번 생각해 볼 수 있었던 시간이었습니다. 고맙습니다.